Well, it's damaged, but I fixed worse. Come on, maybe there's someone in town who can help us. Wait a second, is that raritanium? Maybe we should upgrade our weapons first.
Here's where you pick your weapon. Let me walk you through the process with one of mine. You're gonna need raritanium for this. All you gotta do is pick these things chain together. Go ahead and fill it out. Just confirm the transaction and hey, you surrounded a miss. That's all there is to it.
Did you catch all that? Okay, good. I'm glad you understood. But for real, we just choose which buffs we want out of this hex grid. And if we have enough currency, we can purchase them. It's pretty simple stuff. So, as I understand it, normally people go for the plumber first, but I'm gonna go ahead and head this way.
Holding his breath, our intrepid Lombax delves the depths of, deepness.
In spite of the mask icon that appeared underwater, we do not have the mask yet, but we will get it later, as with the original Ratchet & Clank, though many of the upgrades we get are in different places. Some are in the same spot. It's a rough remake, but it keeps many of the ideas. I wonder what it would be like if they just didn't have bolt cranks in a Ratchet & Clank game. Would people even notice? Because the bolt cranks don't usually do anything super important, they just open doors. Like, what if the doors were already open? Or if there were a switch instead?
They appear to be amoeboids. According to my databanks, they were created by Drake Industries in order to assist the warbots.
That's a bit of extra world building exclusive to the remake that I think creates more questions than it answers, and as such is unnecessary, but whatever floats your boat. I prefer attacking the amoeboids with either the wrench or the fusion grenade because they tend to group together, which makes them ideal for the grenade. It's not necessary or anything, but it is satisfying. Just as in the original release, there is a cave wall over here to the left that we can break to get some extra goodies.
You are very good at breaking things.
You know, Grim once said the same thing.
They tried to build up Ratchet's recklessness early in the game, but they don't really build on that too much, and in the original game he was plenty reckless and still had plenty of other character traits to go along with that. Everyone in this remake is softer and a bit more boring, but you'll see what I mean by that later. Later in this exact level, actually. The amoeboids are clustered really close together right here, but as long as you can stay at a distance, they're no threat, and it's really, really easy to stay at a distance. For an area that's supposed to introduce a new enemy type, they didn't do a very good job teaching you what's threatening about the enemy type, except for that they clump together. So this cave looks mostly the same as in the original Ratchet & Clank. There are of course some very noticeable geographical and cosmetic differences, but it has the same number of rooms and the secret is even in the same place, even if the secret is different. See, right up here there's a switch. Would anyone notice if all the stuff mapped to the bolt cranks were mapped to switches instead? We now have enough extra money to buy a pyrocitor, which is one of the reasons I went into that cave instead of heading straight for the plumber. It's not super important to get the pyrocitor early, but I thought it would be interesting. And we are going to be using it a whole lot in this level. So you may have noticed by now this game uses a lot of motion blur, and I personally think it looks well. But I understand that that really bothers a lot of people, and I haven't found any settings to change it, but maybe I should look into the menus a bit further. This room very similar to the one in the original Ratchet & Clank as well. This entire level is one of the most similar levels to its inspiration. For some reason this particular area always reminds me of Rough Trigger. The flamethrower is useful for those bug robots in particular in this level. That's what I use them for most of the time. Now, this is where a golden bolt was in the original game, and it was less obvious that you needed to wall jump here, but in the remake they make it way more obvious. I guess because in this game it's a card, and in the original Ratchet & Clank the golden bolts were supposed to be really secret. Like, you could go through the game only finding a couple of them. I've already said, but I think it bears repeating, that the art design in this game is gorgeous. I'm not sure whether I prefer it over the original, because the colors are very different. The original colors and general design are definitely more cartoony. I was going to say that the animation for the bolts would still fit in the original game, but I'm not sure about that either. It seems like trying to transplant anything directly from this game into the original would go poorly, and vice versa. The Blarg and the center platform aren't the real challenge here, it's the Warbot in the very back of the room that is insistent on sniping us. I always get hit by him at least once, sometimes a couple of times. It's a little surreal how simple the enemy layouts are this early. Oh, hey. Our fusion grenade leveled up, as weapons in this series tend to do. Leveling up enables us to buy new upgrades for the weapon at the shop. Anyway, as I was saying, it's a little surreal how simple the enemy patterns are here when they get really hectic later in the game, as in one stage later. I definitely prefer the original's more simplistic game design to this, but the original also controls way worse and the combat flows way less fluid. As an example of the subpar controls, I often found myself falling off of this walkway in the original game. As was already stated, the Pyrocitor is very good for those bug enemies, especially since they come at you in swarms.
Grab the transmission! Who's gonna save us now? Oh, hello there. I'm glad you're here. Hey, have we met before? 'Cause I'm getting a touch of the old deja vu.
I don't think so.
Huh. Well, guess the old think tank could use a good plumbing. Anywho, I've been trying to get a distress call to the Galactic Rangers ever since Drax forces showed up.
This entire region is overrun with Blargian dropships. We need to get you out of here.
Well, I can't go anywhere until I get this here infobot into the hands of Captain Quark.
We were on our way to speak with him when our ship was shot down. Perhaps we could take a look.
Oh, sure thing. I swapped it from one of those Blarg soldiers. Here you go.
Oh, hello there. I'm Alonzo Drek, chairman of Drek Industries. Many of you may be wondering, why are 300 heavily armed warbots marching ominously towards a Class G dread ship? The answer is simple, friends. Progress. Years ago, we were driven underground by pollution that may or may not, but most definitely was, caused by my father's company. Since then, we've shifted focus from robotics to planet building. Now that our project is nearing completion, we must do everything possible to stay on schedule. In this case, it means our friendly army of warbots must vanquish those who would seek to stop us. Good news? They don't know we're coming! So sit back, relax, and take comfort in the knowledge that Drek Industries is working for you!
Drek Industries is not working for you.
I see you're having a little transportation trouble. Why don't I meet you by your ship? We'll get you squared away and ready to fly. Geronimo!
Did that guy just slide down a sewer pipe?
I immensely dislike what they've done with all of the characters in the remake. Everyone is a lot more softer and friendly and is missing all of their nuances. Like, for example, the plumber might as well just be Ratchet or Clank. He's just a generic hero character now. In the original, he was grumpier, had more understandable motivation, and was funnier to talk to.
Oh, looks like Mayor Buckwash is in trouble. We'll fix your ship in a bit, but right now, he needs your help.
That's dialogue you only get if you save the plumber before going to save Mayor Buckwash.
Whoa, that is a lot of bad guys.
Ooh, darn Blarg. Ship.
Attention, citizens. You may have noticed we are in the midst of a small incident. We are working hard to contact the Blarg so we can find a peaceful resolution. But until they return our calls, it's probably best to remain in.
It's really easy to clean house in this first area with the Pyrocitor, except for a few warbots here and there. The enemies also don't deal very much damage in this section, though that will change in the very next level, as will the enemy layout. The plumber will sometimes offer commentary on our action, which is another good reason to save him before Mayor Buckwash. It's a cute detail, even if I don't like the plumber's character anymore. There's a lot of optional crates to get in this underwater area. In the original game, you couldn't swim down here yet because you didn't have access to the water jets, but you get the water jets from the beginning in the remake. Another example of the changed story and character I don't appreciate is Mayor Buckwash's character. In the original, he directly confronted Drek, like started getting all pissy in his face, as anyone should be when their city is under siege. His character was a lot more abrasive and bold, and then after they took him away to be tortured, he started acting more fearful. It's almost like character development is a thing in the original game.
Since invading Blarg, we left you several messages regarding your invasion of this sector. I don't want to suggest that you are avoiding us, but just in case you didn't check your messages, there are quite a few waiting for you.
But as you can see and hear, his character has been reduced to a gag about him repeatedly calling the Blarg and assuming that they're not ignoring him on purpose like some kind of ditz. And this gag continues throughout the entire stage. To top it all off, he doesn't act even remotely fearful when you find him in his ship that's being surrounded by a ton of gunfire, like way more gunfire than the original game. In the original game, he's just surrounded by 3 warbots. In fact, his relentlessly cheerful demeanor in this one is rather disturbing to me. It's like they removed his ability to react to things properly, like he's on some kind of really strange medication. It wouldn't be so bad if these changes to the characters were just, here and there, but they pervade the entire game, and the game is much less interesting for it, as is the franchise. It's these changes to the characters and story that made the movie feel so lifeless and got it such negative reception. But enough about that, we're done swimming, so it's back to the normal gameplay. There's a warbot up there on top of the building that attempts to snipe at you, and it would probably be easier to kill him with the blaster, but because of my infatuation with the fusion grenade, we use that instead. I suppose it could be easy to get hit by him if you're not paying attention to your surroundings very thoroughly. But since this is such a linear pathway, there's no reason not to do that, Just scan left and right until you see all the enemies. I like the idea behind the design of this section. By the way, a bunch of cannon fodder bug robots are broken up with warbots here and there that actually deal damage. It works because the robots have sniping capabilities and can easily hit you while you're distracted with the bug robots unless you pull back. As you saw, we did do a lot of pulling back, so we didn't have so much trouble. But it's fun design and I dig it. They keep doing that throughout the rest of the level until the final stretch. The Pyrocitor is reasonably competent against the warbots as well. It's just that the fusion grenade gives you more distance from them. If you do actually get that close to a warbot, though, there's no reason not to use your Pyrocitor or even your wrench, because you've already won the range game at that point. The warbots are excellent at long-range combat, but they have very limited close-range usefulness. I enjoyed the direction they went with for having the bridge destroyed, because the bridge does resemble the original bridge, but it wasn't nearly this flashy.
Oh dear, more of them.
That must be the mayor's ship.
This is a transmission for the Galactic Rangers. Please, assistance. This is Admiral Buckwash, mayor of the Toblerone Crater of Novalis.
I don't believe he was the mayor in the original game. I can't remember what his designation was, but I don't think it was mayor. So as you can see, he is surrounded by the 3 warbots from the original game, but as we destroy those, far more opposition will appear. Even though it is really difficult if you stand in one spot, they're spread out far enough that it seems relatively easy to me. I try to come back behind the ship where the Blarg first spawns so that way I can get rid of them immediately, but that doesn't work out so well because there are already more Blarg on the rocks firing at me. We do manage to get rid of one of them, but that could have gone way better. This game is very fast-paced and there's a lot of shit flying anywhere at any given time, so if you're not moving and jumping constantly, you can get hit very easily.
Hello? Is it safe to come out?
Thank you. I thought we were done for sure.
We are happy to be of assistance. Why is Drek trying to kill you?
It's my nephew, Skid McMarks.
Wait, Skid McMarks, the pro hoverboarder?
He sent me this infobot from Iridia, and the Blarg have been after me ever since.
Here, take a look.
Hey, Uncle Blockwash! Skid McMarks here. You know, your nephew. My agent and I are at the awesome grand opening of the McMarks Sports Shack here on Iridia, and boy, is this been a trip. I've gotten to meet all kinds of people. Fans, celebrities, my Gadgetron sponsors. I even got to sign autographs for these odd-looking creatures called the Flarg. I guess they're doing something here on Iridia. Wait, hold on a second. Hydro Harvester Super Illegal Water Displacement Apparatus. I don't think I was supposed to have this.
Stop him! He's got the schematics!
Help! Someone, call my agent, call my publicist. Actually, don't call either of those people. Call someone who cares about me. I don't want to die!
Sounds like Skid McMarks is in trouble. We gotta get to Iridia.
Agreed. But we must first repair our ship.
Oh, you did it! Thanks for saving the sector, friend. Now come on back and we'll see about fixing that ship.
Attention, citizens. Your mayor is safe and sound. I was rescued by a furry hero and his robot friend. I will now resume regular office hours, which is every third Tuesday from 10 to 10:30.
And so, Ratchet and Clank set out to fix their ship with the help of the plumber. Little did they know they would soon come so close to greatness they'd be able to hear its mighty biceps ripple. But first, they'd have to tackle a brain-eating zombie T-Rex.
Hey, wait a minute. I don't recall no brain-eating zombie T-Rex.
Okay, fine, Killjoy.
Well, you look about all fixed up here. Now promise me you'll get that infobot to Captain Quark.
I promise. Thanks for your help.
No problem. See you in the next reboot.
Clank? Where are you? Oh, sorry about that. Well, we're not leaving the way we came in.
Perhaps we could procure a ship from one of the inhabitants.
If there are any left.
Welcome to the PlayStation 2, and we're going to be taking the same pathway as last time because I feel like it. You don't get any extra dialogue from the plumber in this one, and that's because the plumber is a more interesting character. This is also an excellent example of the difference in musical tone between the two games. This is definitely one of the funkiest songs in the original Ratchet & Clank, and while the music in the Ratchet & Clank remake is very good, it's not nearly this hoppin' and boppin'. The aesthetic and layout of the cave is very similar here, but there are no amoeboids. Something I really like about the warbots in this version is that they can shoot each other and they try to retreat if you get too close with your wrench. The mushrooms also may not jiggle when you hit them, but they do explode and offer extra bolts, so I think that's a fair trade-off. We're going to be throwing our wrench a lot more in this version than the other one because there seem to be a lot more places where they expected you to use it, or at least a lot more places where you can use it effectively. In place of the icon in the remake, we have this little meter with bubbles in it. It gets the point across. I'm not sure one is any better than the other. You may remember this room and how there was a secret in a cracked wall over to the left. That secret is still here in this version, though it's made a bit less obvious, as most of the secrets are. You can tell with the original there was a big concern about making the game as platformy as it is shooty, even though the shooting, even back then, was a huge part of the gameplay. There's way more areas with few enemies or no enemies. Many of the gold bolts have been replaced in the remake with cards, and I guess that makes sense. As we come back out here, we can see the same bug robots that were in the remake. Their design hasn't changed all that much functionally or graphically, but there are fewer of them. I think the characters speaking a bit less in this version of the game gives more time for atmosphere to build. Like, I wouldn't call the remake version of the cave particularly atmospheric, but I would call the original atmospheric because there's less chattering. There's no world building that isn't directly in front of your eyes or anything like that. And even though it isn't an open world game, that sense of exploration is something I appreciate. This shop does contain the Pyrocitor, just like the shop in the remake, but we don't have quite enough bolts for it yet. That's okay. That's alright. We'll just have to get it after we see the plumber this time. You might remember this room, and it's pretty faithfully recreated in the remake, yeah. Like I said, the colors on all of the machinery in the original game quite different, as is the graphical style in general. Taking out the bug robots with a thrown wrench is a very valid strategy, even later in the level where there are more of them. This game is far more tame about its enemy placement. You might remember this from the remake too. I don't really have any strong opinions on that. Do you think it was weird for the time period that really the only collectibles in Ratchet & Clank were the gold bolts, and they weren't necessary or anything, they didn't gate your progress? I suppose you needed to get a variety of gadgets to explore new areas, but I don't think that makes the game a collectathon. In this room in the remake there were Blarg soldiers, but in the original it's warbots. I'm not sure it makes too much of a difference, especially since the warbots are pretty dumb and don't notice until you get really close. This upcoming room, however, entirely different, not in layout, but with enemy placement. You may remember there were Blarg soldiers on the center platform and a warbot in the back that would snipe at you. No such thing this time, there are no enemies in this room at all. I'm not sure if this is good or bad so much as a difference in priorities with the game design. Ratchet & Clank's remake is definitely more of a shooter because that's what its series has become. That being said, I wonder if this room was ever challenging, or if it was entirely for atmospheric purposes, because the platforming seems pretty simple. And I did fall off this bridge a lot, like a whole bunch, but that's because I had a really hard time getting used to the controls, and not necessarily because it was meant to be challenging.
Dad blast it!
Look, plumber's crack.
What did you just say?
I said, look, the plumber's back.
All right, wise guy. Shouldn't you be on one of them escape transports?
Escape transports?
Newsflash, giant robots attacking! The escape transports are taking all the rich folks off this god-darn planet.
So why aren't you on one?
Socioeconomic disparity.
What?
He hasn't got enough bolts.
Working people have to wait for Captain Quark to save us.
Well, got anything worth a lot of bolts?
I got this thing. Shows two weirdos ditching their ship. It's got coordinates to a desert planet, too.
An infobot. Ratchet, we could use that.
Geronimo!
Did he just slide down a sewer pipe?
Mayday, mayday! This is the solar ship Radical. We seem to be under attack from the planet's surface.
Relax, kid. It looks like some sort of fireworks display. Probably in your honor.
Whoa! That was close! Ah!
Pipe down, I can't concentrate.
Oh, we've been hit!
An unexpected detour. When we land, I'll see if I can scare up an exhibition for you.
We're not gonna live that long!
Kid, let's M-screen!
Eject! Eject!
Did you see that guy on the left? That was Skid McMarx.
Does he know Captain Quark?
I doubt it. He's a pro hoverboarder, always going off about how cool he is.
Looks like he's in trouble.
I'll say. I've never seen him look so freaked out.
Gadgetron Infobots give you coordinates for new planets. Now that you have the infobot for planet Iridia, you'll need to find a ship to get there.
Did you see how much more character that cutscene had? How much more character in not only the dialogue, but the animation. They moved around so much more, were so much more expressive with their hand gestures. And the plumber's character is so much more lively, so there's so much more back and forth between Ratchet and the plumber and Clank, and it's just so much better. And I mean, maybe the sensibilities of Insomniac have just changed over the years, or there was a different writer. But the bottom line is that the plumber's character was memorable, and it's not in the remake, so something got goofed up somewhere. Either way, now we can afford the Pyrocitor, and we're going to use it for mostly the same purpose that we did in the remake. We can't strafe in this game though, so instead of strafe, we're going to crouch and fire in a left to right spread. Now there is a waterway that we can't use as we did in the remake because, like I said, we do not have the water jets. The enemy layout and design is a lot more simple here than in the remake. It doesn't work quite the same way because the warbots don't notice you from such a distance. You have to get pretty close for them to take note of your existence, as was already demonstrated in the sewer. And because they're so much dumber, this part of the level feels a lot more relaxed than the remake, but that's probably the case with most of the combat in this game. There's not nearly as much shit flying everywhere. Yeah, see, we can do this a lot more leisurely than in the remake. I like how even though there's less destruction happening in the original game, that the characters are more freaked out about it. There's a much greater sense of urgency coming from the characters than the environment. Oh wow, I didn't even mean to do that one. I would make a comment about how those tree stumps over there make good use of the environment to spice up the combat, but if you approach it from the right angle, it's really hard to even notice. Like, we approached it from a really open side, so it was almost impossible to notice the difference it made. I really do love that the warbots retreat. I mean, yeah, they're dumber in general, but it makes it a lot harder to just sneak up on them and smack them with your wrench. Significantly less flashy than in the remake, but it gets the job done. Unfortunately, again, the warbots don't notice you from very far away, so this new platforming hazard doesn't really make a difference. I like that in this version you're just bumbling around the level looking for a ship. Like, you don't even know who Buckwash is or that he's in trouble, you're just kinda wandering around. That's something about this game in general, is that it's a lot more aimless. Well, not the game, but the characters are a lot more aimless than they are in the remake. I think the introduction of the Galactic Rangers is a good indicator of how much more on-rail the remake is. Like, the Galactic Rangers is an organization with accountability and rules, and, you know, there's not much accountability and not many rules in the original Ratchet & Clank. So here are the 3 warbots from the remake, but unlike the remake, there will be no reinforcements, making this fight pitifully easy.
Don't hurt me, don't hurt me. Oh, what are you? Mercenaries? Torturers? Assassins? I'll tell you anything. Here, take my infobot. It's all I've got left.
Sir, we're not assassins.
Hold on, let's see what he's got.
Has this ever happened to you? Hi, I'm Captain Quark, and believe me, there's nothing worse than staring down a Blargian Snagglebeast from the inside and knowing your equipment isn't functioning properly. That's why I come to Al's RoboShack for all my electronic needs. Al has been the exclusive repair shop for my super electro gadgets since I was knee-high to a sand mouse. If Al can't fix it, it's not broke. Right, Al? You said it, pal! So if you're fighting crime, or just fighting grime, come to Al's RoboShack in Metropolis for all your robotic repairs. Al's RoboShack, it's Quarktastic!
Do you know what this means?
Yeah, Captain Quark is really sold out.
No, it means Captain Quark is on Metropolis. We could tell him about this invasion.
If we had a ship.
What? A ship? What? You're not going to torture me? Well, as planetary chairman, I could arrange for you to borrow our courier ship.
Cool.
You can count on us, sir.
Right. Thank you, your chairman shipliness.
Now that you have coordinates to 2 new planets, you can use your ship. Press the select button to bring up the map. Your ship is launched into space.